comment. It's not being recorded. Okay, so let me hopefully briefly explain this again, because you're right, we should record it. I thought it was automatically recording it for the sync classes. And yeah, make sure you remind me. I got 3 classes. It's all sort of blending together here. What we're doing is we have a text file, and all we're doing is removing all the comments. So here's a comment, but it's this at the end of the line, I'm still within a block comment. So the next line is starting in a block comment. That is what that block comment on start Boolean is for. It is, am I starting my line in a block comment? If not, it's false. So the first line of my code, that value is false. It's false at the first line because I haven't started anything yet. And so this entire line here is going to be commented out. In fact, actually, this entire line is commented out, including that / Sorry, I was wrong about that. So that / is being removed because its entire line is a block comment. That's part of it was one of my tests. I just screwed it up on my head just now. Here is a block comment starts and it ends here. Starts there, ends here, right? And I want to remove this entire thing, but if I have the word hello behind it, that word hello is still in there. If I have something like this, and why is this text not commented out, is still in there. I want to determine where the block comment starts, where it ends, and then just remove the text that's in the block comment. I want to remove any text that's behind a line comment, but I get weird cases. Like if I have a / within a line comment, I don't deal with a / You could try it out. So I'll do another example. Let's just do that example actually. Here we go. If you don't believe me. So here is me doing slashes within a block comment. Notice that after the block comment ends, I'm right back to using the text. I'm back to having the text again because the block comment, this line right here, this thing right here is being removed. So I'm not in a comment. But up here, I start my line, and no matter what I put in there, hello, whatever I put in there, everything on the rest of that line is just being wiped out. And so I'm just going line by line, removing anything that's in a comment. That's all. And I can output it to the screen. That's the default case. But if you want the more advanced version, the advanced, I think 5% bonus case, you output it to a file, which is how I got text file clean.txt. Notice text file clean.txt. There we go. Text file clean2.txt. I should get rid of this old one. This is an old one. If this is the original file and all the comments are removed, what happens if I try and remove the comments again? That's actually what I'm doing here. I took text file clean.txt as my input. So that's the file I'm reading in. There's no comments in there anymore. They've all been ripped out. So if I try and remove the comments again, I call my function to remove the comments again. What should I see? Nothing. Nothing should change. I can prove, and so what I should be able to check out is how many characters are removed. If I have a cleaned file and I remove all the comments, how many characters are removed? 0. I'm not going to remove any characters. It's already clean. That's the kind of testing you want to do. So a little bit at a time, compile, test. A little bit at a time, compile, test. So I'd figure out how to remove a line comment. Just that. Make sure it works. Take a line of text, take a character array of text with a line comment in it, throw it at that function, see if it cleans up that function. Move on to the next thing. Okay, how do I open my file? Open my file, close my file, stop there, compile it, make sure it works. Okay, now that I've opened my file, read in line by line and just spit out what was in the line. Great, compile it, test it, go from there. Don't try and do everything. Do a little snippet, test it, do a little bit more, test it. The testing, you think it's going to take you all this time, but the testing will take you 10 minutes to test this thing, or 6 hours if you do it all at once at the end. Actually, more than 6 hours. 6 hours per test that you need to do, right? Like, you don't know where the problem is. If you haven't verified along the way, how do you know that it's not earlier? All right. So is that answering some of your questions? The big one that's going to throw people off is block comment on start, this comment, block comment on start. And that is all about if I'm starting my line, I'm reading out just one line of text. If it's starting in a block comment already, my logic's going to be different. If I'm already in block comment, I'm removing text until I find the end of the block comment. I'm not looking for the start of the block comment. I'm looking for the end of it, and I'm removing text until I get to that end one. I think that code's actually given to you. Um, so the weird things that I changed from previously, just to make sure, we had this Boolean pointer, and then I was like, that's really awkward, and people are going to have trouble understanding. So I have another way you can return more than two pieces of information from more than one piece of information from a function. Make a struct that has more than one piece of information. So I want to return the number of characters that were removed, and if I'm in a block comment. Okay, I made a struct that has the number of characters removed and the block comment. I can return one of those things and pass two pieces of information out of my function. Does that make sense? So that's why all this parse end stuff is, right? This is, I need to return these two pieces of information. I want to throw both in a struct so I can only return one thing, right? But if I return that struct, I'm returning really two things. It allows me to cheat, right? I'm taping these two pieces of data together and returning those. So for those of you that are, I got to make sure I upload this video as well. Earlier comment, I just want to be very clear. If people are struggling with assignments, with pointers, with anything, ask for help. I cannot help you without you asking for help. I don't know who needs help, and I don't know what you need help with. So that's why we have office hours. That's why we have TA. That's why the TA is desperate to talk to people on Fridays. I mean, Pat's a very friendly guy. I'm hoping I'm a friendly guy, but we can't go out of our way and preemptively grab you and say, learn, right? And you can't do it the night of. It doesn't work. You have to do this thing incremental because it keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's see. I want to remove these two lines here. Why? Because it's going to screw up everything otherwise. Okay, here is, so what we're doing for 2A is we're doing it in C code. The only reason we're doing this again is because for 2B, we're doing the exact same thing. And I'm going to give you the code, the 2A's solution, by the way, on Friday. So you'll be taking the code from 2A, or you can make up your own code. That's fine. But I'll give you the solution for 2A, and you just need to convert it over to what it would be for a string, for how you parse strings, how you do the C++ version of file input. And I'll hopefully give you some examples of this, and you can look online how to call particular functions. I did that today, right? How does file open work? How does the file stream work again? Fstream work in C++? Oh, that's the syntax. I forgot what that looked like, right? Normal. Okay, so let me see here. What do we have that you haven't seen yet? So this is just a bunch of tests that I'm going to throw a bunch of tests in there in one function. Why? Because if I want to test it again, just call the function again. Right? It's just me organizing my code. It's like me rearranging my bedroom. It doesn't do anything different, just rearranging stuff. Here's my main method that I'm looking at. You will need to write shift text. All that's going to do is it shifts text over. I talk about it in the video, the sync video that I've already shared with you from this past Friday, right? It's there for the block comments because sometimes I need to remove this text in here. So here's my text. I need to move it over here and replace this one. So all I'm doing is shifting the text over, wiping out the old one by shifting it over. I need to find the end of a block comment. That's find block end. I'm looking for a block comment, the end of a block comment. Why? Because I need to know when the block comment ends. Removing the line, that's a function you have to write. given to you, which was a lot easier than last term, right? Here is me pulling stuff out, like pulling off a block comment. That code's given to you already. And me thinking how I thought through it all. Okay. And let me read your thing in a second. Boolean block comment start. Now the question is, what, you don't technically really need it, but am I in a block comment when I start that line? That's what Boolean block comment start means. So hello world is how is everyone doing? So the output I get from the following functions: remove comment line. Why are you passing in a true or a false into your function? Or that's what the function is getting when it calls that line. But if you call hello world, how is everyone doing with remove line comment, and just say, let's remove line comment, this text here, my text, and the value true, what does it say? It should say hello world. And if it says, if it's true, you're in a block comment. If it's true, then I remove the entire thing. If it's false, as in you're not in a block comment, then it should return hello world. Everything else all the rest of this text should be wiped out. If the rest of it is in a block, is in a line, on that line of text, right? So depending on whether it's true or false, it either gives you hello world or it wipes out the entire thing and just quotes together. That's what I would expect. This thing is taking it, it's removing a line comment if I'm in a block comment. And if I look at it though, remove line comment, block comment on start. Okay. And really, most of the time, you don't even need to worry about that part, but it is helping you make sense of how there, because of the overlap between the two, you can have a line comment and then a block comment, or a block comment around the line comment, or any of these combinations. You sort of have to keep track of, am I currently in a block comment? That's really what it is. And when I'm done, am I still in a block comment? When I finish the line, am I still in a block comment? So for the most time, for the remove line comment, in fact, I probably, this might be vestigial. It actually might be useless in this case. I had it before because I needed it before. I'm starting to think that I could have just removed this entire thing, remove that block, and just set it always to false, because I shouldn't call remove line comment if I'm in a block comment. It's always going to be not in a block comment when I'm calling this. So that'll cover it. That's fine. For the most part though, it's always going to be, for the vast, if not always, it's just going to be this remove line comment, my text false. So in case you don't see what the chat is looking at, like, right, it's the false version. I'm not in a block comment normally when I call this function. It shouldn't hurt whether I have this function. I have this extra boolean and it's not doing, if it's not doing anything, well, okay, it's not doing anything, that's fine. But that's what it's for. That was what it was originally for. It was for, I was passing around a boolean, a pointer to a boolean, and changing it in these various functions, and now I'm just returning it as part of my return call, this parse end thing. So this is me changing my code, and I think, coming to think of it right now, it is extraneous because how the code was working before, I converted it to this new thing. I could have actually removed it in retrospect. Other questions, queries. Okay, so the remove block comment thing, this is just removes a block comment. And it tells me when I get to the end of the line, so I'm removing the block comment, am I still in a block comment when I'm done? The reason I want to do this is I might need to call remove block comment multiple times. Let me give you an example. maybe I have an example right here. Hey, there's a nice example. So let's do this one, right? Here would be an example. This line right here. I have a line comment, and inside the line comment, I have a block comment that ends and another block comment that ends. If I got rid of this line comment, what would I see? I want to think of all these weird cases. I have 5 options is the text that's still going to stick around, then a block comment that I'm going to remove. There's 3 dots. These are not commented out dots, so those 3 dots should remain around. And then I'm going to get rid of, sorry, I'm not highlighting properly, but this thing. I'll get rid of this. I'll get rid of that and that, and the rest of it stays. There's 2 comments on the same line. I'm allowed to have that. I may need to call remove block comment multiple times, just in case. Or maybe I have this, just to be a real pain in the ass. I remove the first block comment, then I get a line comment, which then wipes out everything else. Perfectly allowed. And I'll get rid of this thing here. Okay. And I'll put that back in. I need to get rid of those. All right. Why would you think the exam is being moved? Okay. I want to make sure people are fine and dandy with all of this kind of stuff. So can I answer any other questions? Or maybe you guys can answer some of the other students when they ask things during this. Is the exam being moved? Oh, you shouldn't see this. Okay. Is that sort of answering your question for what we're trying to do here? And again, there is a video on this as well. It's posted as well. I'm trying to give you the resources, but you gotta watch them essentially as well. I think I even go over pseudocode for it. The reason I do this also is because that pseudocode is then being used. I'm giving it to my 1400 class to show them an example of pseudocode I actually write when solving a problem. And how do I phrase this? If I'm writing pseudocode, and I've been doing this for more than 20 years, more than most of you have been alive. I've been programming for a very long time. I'm not a genius or anything like that, but I'm not dumb either. If I'm still doing this after 20 years, writing pseudocode, doodling stuff up on pads of paper, figuring out how everything works, that's not what I was working on this time for this tablet thing, but I'm doodling out how I'm going to design code before I even touch it. If I'm still doing that, maybe I'm doing it for a reason. And it's not because, I don't know any better or because I'm an ivory tower person that doesn't know what it's like in the real world. I've been programming in industry for God knows how long, right? Get out a pad of paper, plan, then code. Pointer keynotes, how to use them, okay, great. That's fine. Great. A linked list was a problem. Definitely by linking values. Linking a struct. Okay. Let me see here. I can redo linked lists. So here we go. Hopefully I'll have time to do that. Okay. Empty project. Hopefully nothing's going to be. I'm just going to create it in here. Don't save. Okay. I'm going to make a brand new class, new item. I'm going to call linked list demo, CPP file, fine. Okay. I'm going to, let's see here, what can I include? Standard IO, probably need that. Don't know if I need anything else. Okay, so what do I want? My linked list, I want to link a struct together. And in fact, this is what hopefully will give us what we're looking for this pointer dereference referencing. So it's going to be so hard to write. Okay, what kind of value do I want in there? I could have an array, let's say. What would be a good thing? Let's do that. And it's going to be size, let's say 10. In fact, I probably should use something better than 10. I should make it some kind of constant. Constant int ll text len. Oh, I should all caps. All right. All this is going to be is an array with 10 characters in it right now, so far. But let's do the other part of a linked list. I can't make another linked list inside of a linked list. It's a recursive definition. It would go on forever, right? I'd build a linked list, and it'll be like a Russian nesting doll with no end, essentially. It would be a doll within a doll within a doll within a doll with a doll. No, no. I can point to another one, though. I go P next. Again, the reason I put P's and stuff like that everywhere is just because I have a horrible memory and I want to know if it's a pointer. Not an array, it's a pointer. And so I put A for arrays, P for pointers, so I know if I should go to the next element, because they're the same. They're the exact same thing under the hood, which is what makes C so hard. Okay. I want to see if, oh, linked list. Okay, great. And then I'm going to have an int main. And I'm going to test my code before I start. So linked list LL. Okay. I want P next is equal to null LL dot. Should I make it some value? Let's put some value in there. I'm going to go at position 0 in my linked list, in my array, my text. This is just the name of this thing. So it's going to be called like link 1, link 1, link 2, something like that. Susan, whatever I want. It's just a name. I'm going to put this character. That character tells me I'm at the end of my text. So this is text with nothing in it. It's just going to be quotes together. That's what this thing would do. Okay. Let's not do that. Let's do something different. So I'm acting, by the way, in case you didn't know. Okay. So instead of this, let's do something different. Let's letter H, and then L dot A. At position, do I want to do a position? Let's do this, +1. What the hell am I doing? So think about this for a second. What is this actually doing? This is where things get really weird, but once you get a hang of it, it's awesome. Instead, so I have an array. It has 10 characters long. If I make the very first character, and so let's leave those off for the time being, and then we'll print them out. Okay, so print F, and then I'm going to print off that text, and I'll say named that. Okay, new line. Put the same thing down here. And let's just compile it and make sure it's working. Should, but if it's not, well, okay, it worked. Great. And instead, after that, I'm going to do this. Should still work. Okay. Let's see this in action. I haven't done much. Linked list is named Nothing. Linked list is named H. What? What does this do? This says the pointer that I'm pointing at, it's just a pointer. An array is just a pointer. It's a location in space where all this junk is. It's the bucket, the location of the bucket where I'm storing data. Go to the bucket where I'm storing data. For the very first character, where it's pointing to, the very beginning of it, set that value to H, the character H. That's what this dereference is for. Instead of getting the value, I'm going to the location and then I'm looking in the bucket. Instead of saying where the location is in space, I go into the bucket. The next line is go to the bucket, move one step further down, plus one step, and now look in the bucket. It's a series of buckets, one after the other, right? So I go to the next bucket and look down and see what you get. Okay, and when you get there, put the number 0, the character 0, to say, hey, there's nothing, nothing there. I don't know if any of you can handle Discord at the same time. I can't do two things at once. I'm sorry. And we're going to have to stop soonish anyways. Okay, so this is me accessing the array, going into the bucket, and that star says look in the bucket. If I want to get the pointer to something, which we'll do next, let's make another linked list. So linked list ll2, okay, ll2.p next is equal to null. So I want to set the next to null, ll2.a text. I want to give it some kind of text in here. So str cpy, I'm going to copy test2 over there. Hopefully that's going to work for us. I'm really hoping. And I need to do the underscore s version of it. And ll text length. Okay, I'm going to store text for linked list element 2. Okay, let's make sure that that's going to work for us as well. There's something weird about this one. I got to look into this. Oh, I got to figure out what. Anyone know offhand what the what library we need to do for this? strcpy should be string copy. I'll just brute force it ignorance for right now.
I think it's just IOStream.
It's IOStream? Oh, standard IO versus IOStream. Thank you. Every time I always forget what library I need to use, and especially for demos, brutal for that. Linked list 2 is named, and I'm going to have ll2 text. Okay. H, and now it says test2. Okay, one last thing I want to make sure before we go. What does a linked list do? I can take ll.pnext. What am I pointing to? The next thing on my list? I need to point it to the next node, but I can't put ll2. That's not a pointer. That's the values inside of it. I need where that thing is located. Reference. I put an and, the ampersand, when I want the pointer, when I want the address where this thing is located in space, because that's where I'm going to. I don't want, you're not going to move around my house. You just want to, I just want to pass you my address. If you want to visit me, come to my address. I'm not going to give you my address, right? If you want to come to my house, I give you an address. I don't move my house around town, right? I just want to pass the address and other people can come to me. So that's what this thing is for. It's a linked list. Get the reference to it, where it's located, and the other thing can know where it's located. So if I want to go from next to the next to the next, I can do that. I can go from linked list, and then I get the next to the link for the linked list, and I go to the next, and I go to the next. So let's see if I can do this in 2 seconds. While let's do this. I want to have some current node. It's going to be equal to, the reason I want this is because I want to know when I get to null linked list. Okay, I want the pointer to the original linked list. And while p cur node does not equal null, I could just say while p cur null node, by the way, in case you're wondering, but I want to do this kind of thing a bunch of times. Linked list is named this, and then I'm going to have the current linked list. And in case you're wondering, if I put the dot here and I go, let's say this, notice what's going to happen. Boom, it auto fixes it for me. But if I'm dealing with a pointer, I use an arrow instead of using a dot. It fills it in for you for free, but instead of an arrow, you get a dot. You'll get very used to it because that's all you're going to be dealing with object-oriented programming. They're everywhere. It's pointers everywhere, unfortunately. Okay, so this should print off the first node. Oh, and then I need the next. So p cur node is equal to p cur node p next. I'm going to get the next in my list. If it's not null, I print it off. All right, and once I get my zoom out of the way, let's see what happens. Oh, I got a breakpoint. I've got an exception. Great. What happened there? The current node is equal to this. If I look at my output, I get h test2. Did I forget to set test2 to the right value? Is equal to null. Current node is this. It should be equal to null. And well, it's not equal. That's weird. I want to look into this. So I'm going to stop it. I'm going to rerun it again because I don't know what's wrong with this. Okay. That's the first step to the loop. I've printed off h. I'm expecting to go one more time through the loop. I'll print off test. I need to see what this is equal to. It's test, and the next is CCCCC. There's something weird there. ll2.next. I set the next here. So why is it back down to CCCCCCC? That is really interesting for me. Because that shouldn't be CCCCCCC. It should be a null here for test 2. Unless, I'd have to look into this myself, actually. This is the kind of thing I'd debug for 5 minutes or so, but just before an exam happens. There's something happening here with pnext not being set to the proper value initially. So I make a pnext, it does this. Oh, that's why. Right? No, that's right. The link, my next is set to linked list 2. Linked list 2 should pnext should be equal to null, but I've already done that. So I don't know why that's causing a problem. But okay, I don't want you to take it. You're about to start your exam. I want to make sure you have time to relax, use the bathroom, that sort of thing. I'm going to stop here. Please ask other questions as we go along. I'll make sure we have one of these meetings every single week to make sure that you're up to speed and you're good to go for the exam, okay? Or for the assignments each week. And just ask questions. There's so many moving parts, and I know you're isolated, but that's how we figure out what we need to do to help you guys out. I can't figure it any other way. So good luck on the exam. I'm sure you're going to do fine. You put in the work, and I'll see you on the other side of it. But I'm on Discord right now, so if you have any questions, directly message me. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop sharing.